Zootopia 2 is finally here, and families want to know, is it worth going to see? Is it worth your money? And should you rush to theaters before it gets spoiled? Today we'll tell you how it measures up to the first one. Is it woke? Is it a joke? Or is it worth going a little bit more broke, even on Black Friday? Zootopia 2 is out in theaters, and the question is, do you want to go anywhere near it? Do you want to take your family? Is it woke? Will it make you broke? And will this sucker make $1 billion? Today, folks, we're going to dive into Zootopia 2. It's Disney's big movie, and it might be the salvation of cinemas, along with Wicked. Remember that Avatar Fire and Ash does not come out until the last couple of weeks of the year, and that means that it will not have a huge impact on the box office for 2025. So it's down to Wicked, and it's down to Zootopia. I've seen the film. What do I say about it? Well, folks, we're going to try to stay away from spoilers in this one because we know you don't want to be spoiled. But here's the deal. Zootopia follows up on a very successful film that came out about a decade ago. But in this movie, only about a week has passed. It creates for a very strange dynamic where much of your life has changed, but for these characters, almost no time has gone away whatsoever. The baddies are different this time. It's a bunch of cats, and they're out to try to figure out what's going on because it appears that a snake has made its way into Zootopia. Yeah.
Cats? I thought it was the reptiles that were the villains this time.
Jonas. No. Listen, I'm not spoiling anything by saying this, okay? From the minute the cats show up in the first few minutes of the film, it's very obvious that they have bad guy voices. Very clear they have bad guy voices. In fact, I would even say, Jonas, they intro to the film with bad guy music. So there's no fooling you there.
Okay, so they're bobcats, and I thought they were. I thought the message was that it shouldn't be judged. But
they're lynxes. They're lynxes, Jonas. They're lynxes. Okay.
Well, obviously they're evil.
The plural of lynx, but so be it. So Judy and Nick, even though that they saved Zootopia and they're famous, somehow they're still rookie cops who get absolutely no respect. No respect, I tell you, Mr. Dangerfield. Get no respect inside the police force. And they suddenly, after a week after saving the entire world, they are going to have to go through partner therapy, which is essentially couple therapy. And it's handled in a funny way. But yeah, Hollywood is still obsessed with therapy. It's an inside out 2 strategy. Does it work? Well, that's up to you. The question is Zootopia 2 woke? That is it neo-Marxist? Is it postmodern? Does it throw away the idea of objective truth? And does it believe in oppression by oppressors who are determined simply by the way they were born? And to that I say, no. I can definitely see how at one point in the development, maybe they could have gone that way. But the ultimate product, no. It's absolutely not woke. It's not woke at all.
Okay.
And in fact, it's essentially like the first one. This film says, do not judge a book by its cover, and it's trying to right a wrong. It's essentially the story of the Good Samaritan, in which Judy Hopps plays the character who is determined to do good for a character that the rest of the world sees as bad, that they're fearful of. Meanwhile, the dynamic between Judy and Nick comes down to the idea that Nick, although he wants to save the world along with Judy again, he has discovered that he has feelings for her. I'm not saying it's romantic. The film is ambiguous about that.
Oh.
However, he is not so interested in completing some of the missions because he's on a mission to make sure that the most important person in the world to him does not get destroyed in trying to save the world around her. That's a great story. The problem is for Zootopia 2, that as it goes through its journey, it's very dense on logic. And I'm not saying in a bad way, but I'm saying in the kind of way that kids are going to not track well. The smaller the kid, the harder they're going to have understanding what's going on in the movie. And it does slow down significantly, especially in Acts 1 and 2. By Act 3, you're having a good time. Everybody's having a good time. And especially when the snake shows up and gets to have lots of screen time. Mr. Kwan, you just do phenomenally well in everything you're in. Let's hear it for Short Round. The film is... yeah, go ahead, Jonas.
I have so many questions. So go ahead and finish this part if you want. But there's a lot of things that I saw in the trailer, for instance, that kind of made the hairs on my neck go.
All right, let's get into that. So,
stand on end.
For for the younger the child that you take, the less they're going to enjoy this movie, I think. Until you get down into like the 2, 3, 4-year-old, and they just don't care. They like flashy colors and popcorn, so they're going to have a good time no matter what. But really, this is a movie made more for teenagers and young adults. Again, very Inside Out 2-esque. Now, does that mean it's going to fail? No, Inside Out 2 did great. So I can't tell you that it's going to, that it's going to do poorly. However, it's not as fun a film as the first one. The first one is easy for people of all ages, and the sight gags are not here in the same way. And one of the problems is that the characters that return from the first film, they really don't serve a purpose, so they have to come back in with their, one-hit wonder gag and do that again. And
so they do the naked animals again?
It feels, no, they don't. The naked animals, I started to say the real word for it, but we can't on YouTube. The naked animals do not come back, but it feels shoehorned, right? So when the little mafia mole shows up, he really doesn't have a good reason for being there, except the fact he's really popular. So get him in there, right? And I get it when Dash or Slash or whatever his name is, the sloth, when he shows up, it's cute to have him in the car, but it's like 10% of the joke that he was there for the first film, but you can't do the DMV again. Ultimately, it's a fine film. It's a good film. If you're a teenager or young adult, you're going to like this one a lot. If you're in the younger crowd, there are better movies, better animated movies to go to. This one's not as good as the first. It's not as great as the original. It's sort of in that same vein that we've seen so many times recently from Disney, where they can get close enough, but they can't be great like what they had a decade ago. So ultimately, what do I give Zootopia 2? Ladies and gentlemen, Zootopia 2 with Judy and Nick gets a 7.5 out of 10. 7.5 out of 10. It's a good movie. You'll have a good time, but it's not a great film. In my mind, your mileage will differ depending on your age, I believe. Jonas, go ahead, sir.
Okay. Well, first of all, Tony Ilias says not better than K-pop Demon Hunters, right?
No, not even close. No. K-pop Demon Hunters is a 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah. Let's see here. Quentin, who was waiting eagerly for your review, says Inside Out 2 was pretty bad, probably 2 out of 10. Disappointed that you gave a good review. So I wouldn't classify your review as Inside Out 2 as positive, though.
As I recall, I gave it kind of a meh. Inside Out 2 is not even close to the original. Nowhere close to the original in terms of how good it is. I think I gave Inside Out 2 a 6 out of 10, right?
Yeah, Inside Out 2, I don't remember what you gave it, but Inside Out 2 is actually it works on so many levels. And Inside Out, the original, works on so many levels, and Inside Out 2 is nothing. It is.
Well, let's compare, right?
Barely works on one level.
Let's compare Inside Out 2 to Inside Out, just in one way, okay? Both of them introduce a character that is purely of the imagination of Riley. Yes. And in Inside Out 2, that's anxiety. In Inside Out 1, it's Bing Bong. Now, what was the impact when Bing Bong, the imaginary friend, sacrifices himself for Riley's maturation? Okay? How did you feel in that versus how you felt when anxiety finally saved the day, which is a strange thing to happen because anxiety...
Let me see if I can get into my Richard Kind... let's see if I can get into my Richard Kind voice and take her to the moon for me. Oh, my goodness.
That's almost King Candy.
No, King Candy is on a much higher register, and
they're both in
a certain reverberation in the nasal cavity that have to do with your King Candy.
Both of a similar flavor. So, Jonas, any questions you've got for me? I think I think it's going to make a lot of money.
Okay,
a lot of money.
I feel like I can't respectfully do a Ki Hui Kwan impression, but I love the way the guy talks. If I try to do an impression of somebody, generally it's not because I'm making fun of them. It's because I think the way that they talk is interesting.
He's the very rare case where the way he talks and the way he looks, you can still identify him all the way back from when he was 9 years old till now. I don't see how he does it, but it's, the man is just pure joy on the screen. I don't know what he's like behind the scenes, but he's just so happy. And you can even feel it in his portrayal of the snake. And I thought when I found out that he was cast as this snake, I thought this is the strangest, casting choice ever. And then once you find out who the snake is in the story, then it makes sense why they got this guy, because who else is going to portray a snake the way that he can? It's a cool thing. Very cool. But again, folks, good as the first one, not even close. But it's a fine film. It's a good film.
Yeah, the question that actually, I'm going to put this up here before we get to my question. Do you think they should do another Zootopia sequel? Would you want another one?
Yeah, I think they should do another Zootopia sequel, both from a business standpoint and a narrative standpoint. From a business standpoint, this thing prints money so long as it's not woke, and they managed to make this one not woke. And from a narrative standpoint, I think they're bringing back some of the people who helped them be successful years ago, and they're flushing out some of the wokesters. Now, Disney is still rife with it, but I think they can get a team together to make another one, and I think they can make it work. And the end credit scene shows there's another type of animal that they want to feature a story about.
Okay. By the way, I have to point out that that is a 3-wolf moon on that avatar. So
yeah, it's sponges, by the way, Jonas. They want to talk about sponges next.
Yeah. So it seems like there's a lot of statements about, well, they've been living among us. It's as if there's a secret. I think there might even be a sombrero on the snake at the time that there's folks, we're going to go into spoiler territory now. This is your chance. If you don't have any spoilers, you got to get out, because Jonas is going to ask me questions that are going to force me to explain some plot stuff. Okay. So if you don't want to know, this is your opportunity to get out of here. All right. Get out of here if you don't want to hear any spoilers. Go ahead, Jonas. With all of this, it seemed like there were comments from people like The Wrap and other outlets saying this is a timely story, a timely social commentary. Was that social commentary about immigration?
So here's what I think, Jonas. I think that there are a lot of writers out there and some of the artists behind the scenes that they want to pump up their virtuosity card. Mm-hmm. And so they try to inject into these stories either their own message that's not necessarily there, or they want to point to what the message was before the executive said, yeah, scrub that, we're going to change that. So could you read this as an immigration story? With difficulty, yes. But it is obvious that great lengths have been made to keep this away from anything that real world. It's very obvious if you know what they're going. If you understand how these movies are made, it's very obvious they're going to great lengths to make sure there is no attachment whatsoever to real life individuals.
That's something they did really well in the first one, by the way. Well, by making it predator and prey and making the sheep the adversaries. It was something where, obviously it's a race allegory, and there's some references to illicit substances epidemic in the 1990s. I'm trying to keep YouTube off of our tail here. But
that was Nightshade, right? Was the stuff that they were in the first one? Was that?
Yeah, maybe camping Polycephalus or something like that.
Yeah.
But the idea being that there was something created and put into a certain community in order to create bad behavior.
Right.
I don't know that was intentional on the part of the filmmakers, but it was read like that by the audience. So it was about prejudice in general, instead of being like, well, these are the whites and these are the Hispanics and these are the Dutch. It was a theme of the movie, as opposed to saying these are the good people, these are the bad people.
The problem I have with Zootopia's logic, and I try not to go here. Every time I start to think about the logic of it, I go, okay, it's a kid's movie. But the problem I have with the logic is I don't know what the predators eat. I don't know how they're actually alive. What is it? Do they eat is there some sort of biologically animal entity that they're allowed to eat and get away with it? Maybe they have
some bioengineered Campbell soup. That's all.
Yeah. 3D printed meat in the Campbells. I don't know.